Welcome to another deep dive. We're going back in time today, getting to know Aurelio De La Rosa.
A fascinating guy.
He was a detective in the Rockford, Illinois Police Department. And we've got this great interview from 2007 where he really opens up about his life.
A life story that touches on so many different aspects of the American experience. Growing up in Mexico, immigrating to the U.S., and then ultimately dedicating his life to his adopted country.
It's an incredible journey.
Absolutely.
So are you ready to hear a story you won't forget?
I am definitely ready. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start with Aurelio's early life.
Mhm.
He moved from Allende, Mexico to Rockford, Illinois with his family when he was just 4 years old.
Wow.
Can you imagine, being that young and suddenly finding yourself in a brand new country,
Yeah.
unable to speak the language?
Yeah, talk about a culture shock. That must have been incredibly disorienting for him. And this was the late 60s, early 70s when Rockford was this major industrial hub,
Right.
drawing in a lot of Mexican families seeking opportunity. But Aurelio's family, they were pioneers. They were one of the first Mexican families in the area.
So no built-in community to lean on.
Exactly. They had to rely on the kindness of friends and family, back in Texas, really starting from scratch.
Did Aurelio ever talk about what it was like to learn English,
Wow.
to adapt to this new culture as a kid?
He did. And, it wasn't always easy. He mentioned being picked on in school, struggling to fit in.
That's a...
He attended both public and Catholic schools.
Okay.
And he found a bit more security in that stricter environment of St. Anthony's Catholic School.
Interesting.
He felt safer there because the nuns, he said, wouldn't tolerate bullying.
That's such a poignant detail. It makes you think about the impact of those early experiences, navigating cultural differences and searching for a place to belong.
It speaks volumes about the resilience of children. He had to grapple with preserving his Mexican heritage while also trying to integrate into American society. Right.
It's that delicate balancing act so many immigrants face. And speaking of finding your place, Aurelio's decision to join the U.S. Army straight out of high school is this, pivotal point in his story. It wasn't just about economic factors. He genuinely wanted to serve his adopted country.
Yeah, think about the implications of that for a moment.
Yeah.
What does it mean to pledge allegiance to a nation that you haven't fully been embraced by yet?
It's a big question.
It's a testament to those complex emotions so many immigrants feel, this deep desire to contribute, to belong.
Absolutely. So he ends up serving in the 82nd Airborne Division.
Wow.
Incredibly elite unit. He even saw combat during the invasion of Panama in 1989,
Oh, wow.
where he was wounded by a hand grenade.
That must have been terrifying.
Absolutely.
He was willing to put his life on the line for a country that was, still in the process of becoming his own.
Right.
Makes you wonder, did that experience change his feelings about America? Or did it strengthen his resolve?
It's a question worth pondering. He did speak about, the bonds of brotherhood forged in the military and how the experience really shaped his character.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, did he ever share any specific insights that he gained from serving in the military? How did it change his worldview?
He did mention how his time in the military really solidify his values, things like discipline and teamwork and perseverance.
Right.
He saw firsthand the importance of relying on others, pushing through adversity.
Yeah.
Qualities that, would undoubtedly serve him well in his future career.
That makes sense. It seems like his military service, it acted as this bridge between his Mexican heritage and his, burgeoning American identity.
Yeah.
Leading him towards his, childhood dream of becoming a police officer in Rockford.
Exactly. And that's where, we really see his dedication to community shine.
Yeah.
He doesn't just become a patrol officer. He dives headfirst into serving Rockford. Every way imaginable. SWAT team member, firearms instructor, armorer, translator. He even served as union president.
Wow, it's a lot.
Oh, and on top of all that, an active community volunteer.
It's almost like he saw a gap and decided to fill it himself.
Yeah.
It speaks to a deep sense of responsibility.
Absolutely. And let's not forget his lifelong passion for martial arts.
Oh, right.
He started learning in 7th grade and continues to teach it to others, emphasizing self-discipline, respect.
Yeah.
It seems like every aspect of his life is intertwined with service and community engagement.
It's remarkable. It makes you wonder, where did this deep sense of duty come from?
Yeah.
Was it instilled in him, growing up? Or did it evolve through his experiences in America?
That's a great question, and one we'll continue to explore as we delve, deeper into Aurelio's life. But one thing's for sure, this is just the beginning of an incredibly inspiring story.
It's fascinating how Aurelio's um, dedication to service extends beyond his professional life. It even reached into his family.
Yeah.
He even influenced his son to follow in his footsteps,
Hmm.
to join the military.
Hmm. Interesting.
And what's intriguing about this is that his son initially wanted to enlist in the regular army, but Aurelio, being a combat veteran himself, had some understandable reservations.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I mean, as another layer to his character, right?
Right.
We see this tough veteran grapple with the very human anxieties of a loving father.
It's almost like you can hear echoes of his own experience in Panama kind of influencing his reaction. Like he didn't want his son facing the same dangers that he had faced.
Yeah, it's that parental concern.
Sure.
But they eventually found common ground, though.
They did, yeah. It's a great example of compromise, open communication. His son ended up joining the Illinois National Guard. So he was able to fulfill that desire to serve, while also addressing some of Aurelio's concerns.
Makes sense.
It speaks to the strength of their bond and that mutual respect.
And it's a testament to Aurelio's character.
Yeah.
That he didn't simply impose his will.
Yeah.
But he actually listened to his son's aspirations, and they found a solution that worked for both of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, shifting gears a bit,
Yeah.
let's talk about Aurelio's commitment to preserving his Mexican heritage.
Okay.
He seemed to so beautifully integrate those traditions into his American life.
It really challenges that notion that cultural identity has to be like an either situation.
Right.
He demonstrated that it's more about weaving this tapestry that honors both your heritage and your present life.
And he talks about those cherished family traditions, like making tamales for Christmas dinner, attending midnight mass, having piñatas at birthday parties. I'm curious, can you shed some light on, the cultural significance of these traditions for Mexican families?
Yeah, so tamales, for instance, they're a labor of love. They're often made by the whole family.
Wow.
So it's really a tradition that brings everyone together, during the holiday season.
Yeah.
A time to connect and share stories while preparing this delicious dish.
So it's more than just a meal.
Exactly. It's a bonding experience.
Great.
And midnight mass on Christmas Eve, that holds deep religious significance, celebrating the birth of Christ.
Yeah.
It's a time for families to come together in faith and reflection. And then piñatas. I mean, they're just a fun and festive way to celebrate birthdays, symbolizing good luck and abundance.
It's incredible how these traditions connect Aurelio to his roots, while also creating these new memories with his family in America.
It speaks to that adaptable nature of culture, how traditions evolve and are passed down through
Yeah.
generations, incorporating new influences along the way.
Speaking of passing down traditions, Aurelio mentioned hoping that his daughter learns to make tamales. It seems like he's, very intentional about keeping those cultural threads alive, within his family.
It's a beautiful testament to his desire to share his heritage with his children, to instill in them that same sense of cultural pride. And food, food in particular has this incredible power to evoke memories and connect generations.
Yeah.
It's a taste of home no matter where you are in the world.
I love that. His own parents, how did they adapt to life in America? I mean, they must have experienced their own set of, challenges.
They did. Aurelio mentioned that they clung to their Mexican culture, initially, finding comfort and familiarity in their traditions and language. They didn't speak English for a long time, and they socialized primarily, within their own community.
It makes sense. I mean, it must have felt like a way to hold on to a piece of home in a world that felt very foreign.
Exactly. It's a natural coping mechanism when you feel like an outsider.
Yeah.
But what's impressive is that they eventually learned English, demonstrating this willingness to adapt and integrate into American society.
So they found a way to balance preserving their heritage with embracing their new life in America.
They did.
It speaks volumes about their resilience and adaptability.
It does. And it's worth noting that while they were, proud of their Mexican heritage, they were also open to their children embracing, American culture. They didn't pressure them to marry, within their own ethnicity
Right.
or strictly adhere to, traditional customs.
That open-mindedness is remarkable. It allowed their children to forge their own identities, blending their Mexican roots with their American experiences.
Yeah.
It speaks to the beauty of America as this melting pot, a
Yeah.
place where diverse cultures converge and create something new and vibrant.
Absolutely. But as Aurelio's story reveals, it's not always a seamless process.
Huh.
He talked about sometimes feeling, more American than some people born here
Oh, wow.
because he sees them taking their freedoms for granted.
That's a powerful observation.
It is.
It challenges us to consider what true patriotism really means.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It suggests that patriotism isn't just about birthplace,
Yeah.
but it's about appreciation.
Yeah.
It's about, actively safeguarding the values and opportunities that make America unique.
It's about recognizing the sacrifices made by those who came before us.
Yeah.
And actively working to protect and preserve those freedoms for future generations.
Exactly. And Aurelio embodies that sentiment.
He did.
He's a man who has dedicated his life to serving his adopted country, both, through his military service and his career in law enforcement.
He's a true testament to the idea that you can honor your heritage while fully embracing, your chosen homeland.
Absolutely.
And we know Aurelio has faced his share of challenges, both personally and professionally.
Right.
Has he ever spoken about any struggles within the Mexican community itself? Especially regarding the relationship with law enforcement.
It's a sensitive topic,
Yeah.
but a really important one, especially, given Aurelio's unique position as both a Mexican immigrant and a police officer.
Right.
He's definitely spoken about it.
Okay.
He acknowledges the distrust that exists, between some members of the Mexican community and law enforcement. He points to, incidents of prejudice and misunderstanding on both sides.
That must be incredibly difficult to navigate, seeing both sides of the coin so clearly.
It is.
Yeah.
He's talked about, the frustration he feels, witnessing instances of racial profiling, excessive force, within law enforcement.
Yeah.
But he also recognizes the challenges officers face, especially, in communities where there's a history of tension and fear.
It seems like he walks this tightrope, trying to bridge that gap between his two worlds.
He does.
Did he ever offer any solutions or insights on how to improve the relationship between law enforcement and the Mexican community?
He's a firm believer in open dialogue and cultural sensitivity training, for law enforcement.
Yeah.
He feels it's crucial for officers to understand the nuances of the communities they serve,
Right.
to recognize their own biases, and to approach each interaction with respect and empathy.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Building trust takes time and effort, especially when there's a history of hurt and mistrust.
For sure.
Did he ever share any personal experiences that highlight these challenges?
He did.
Okay.
He spoke about an incident early in his career where he was called to a domestic disturbance involving a Mexican family.
Okay.
And he said he could sense the apprehension and suspicion from the family when they saw him, a Latino officer in uniform.
Wow.
And he realized that their previous interactions with law enforcement may have been, negative, shaping their perception of all officers.
That must have been eye-opening for him to see that distrust firsthand.
It was. He said it fueled his commitment to community outreach, to going beyond the badge and connecting with people on a human level.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a positive representative of law enforcement,
Right.
someone who listened, who understood, and who treated everyone with dignity.
It's inspiring that he didn't let those challenges discourage him,
Oh.
He used them as fuel to advocate for change and build bridges within his community.
Absolutely.
Amidst all this serious talk,
Yeah.
let's not forget that Aurelio is a multifaceted individual.
Right.
We've talked about his dedication to family, community, and country.
Right.
But what about his personal passions?
Yeah.
What does he do for himself outside of, his professional life?
You're right.
Yeah.
It's important to remember that he's not just, a symbol of service.
Yeah.
But a real person with his own interests and hobbies.
And one of his biggest passions is, of course, martial arts.
Yes.
It's been a constant thread in his life, since he was a young boy.
Hmm.
He finds immense joy in both practicing and teaching it.
For sure.
We talked earlier about how he started learning martial arts in seventh grade.
Yeah.
It's amazing that he's continued that journey all these years.
Yeah.
What does he say about the impact it's had on his life?
He credits martial arts with instilling, discipline, focus, resilience.
Yep.
It provided an outlet for his energy as a youth,
Mhm.
and later, helped him cope with the physical and emotional trauma of his experience in Panama.
So it's been more than just a hobby.
Yeah.
It's been this source of strength and healing.
Exactly.
He sees it as a way of life, a philosophy that extends beyond just the physical practice.
Yeah.
He believes it teaches valuable lessons about perseverance, uh, self-control, respect for oneself and others.
Absolutely.
It sounds like it's deeply ingrained in his character.
For sure.
He even mentioned owning an antique car
Oh, cool.
and a Harley-Davidson motorcycle.
Wow.
I'm curious, do you think these are just hobbies, or could they represent something more for him?
I think it's safe to say that they represent a sense of freedom and adventure. It's about him embracing life fully, finding joy and fulfillment, outside of his demanding work.
It makes you think about the importance of balance, right?
Right.
Finding those things that light you up and bring you peace.
Absolutely.
And speaking of finding peace, Aurelio's journey to becoming a naturalized American citizen was a pivotal moment in his life.
It was.
It was a culmination of years of service and dedication to his adopted country.
Yeah.
He described it as a huge load off his shoulders.
Wow.
A validation of everything he felt and believed in.
Yeah.
What do you think that moment meant for him, like on a deeper level?
It was about formal recognition, belonging, and a sense of closure.
Yeah.
All of his experiences from immigrating as a child to serving in the military, they all led him to this point.
Yeah.
It solidified his identity as an American,
Yeah.
both legally and emotionally.
It's a powerful testament to the transformative power of embracing a new homeland, of taking that leap of faith and fully committing to your chosen country.
It is.
Aurelio De La Rosa's life is truly a testament to the power of resilience, dedication, and the unwavering pursuit of one's dreams.
Absolutely.
From his humble beginnings in Mexico
Mm-hmm.
to his distinguished career in law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
He embodies the spirit of the American dream.
He does.
His story is a beacon of hope,
Mm-hmm.
reminding us that even in the face of adversity, we can choose to embrace our heritage,
Yeah.
to serve our communities, and
Uh-huh.
strive to create a more just and equitable society.
Absolutely.
What does Aurelio's story teach us about the meaning of citizenship, the importance of community, and the complexities of identity?
It's a big question.
It's something to ponder as we navigate our own journeys in this ever-changing world.
It's a powerful reminder that true patriotism isn't about, where you were born,
Right.
but about the values you embrace and the sacrifices you're willing to make for the country you call home.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the life of Aurelio De La Rosa.
It was a pleasure.
His story is just one of millions of immigrant experiences in the United States, each unique
Right.
and each contributing to the rich tapestry of American life.
It's a story that challenges us to think critically about, our own identities, our values, and our roles in creating a more inclusive and welcoming society for all Americans,
Yeah.
regardless of their background.
And as we conclude this episode, we invite you to reflect on how we can all contribute to building a more just, equitable, and compassionate world.
Yes.
A world where everyone feels valued, respected, and empowered to pursue their dreams.